live streams in a row. We had Grubby Talk Monday night. We had KBF live talking about the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series with Chad and Gene. And tonight we're live with a couple of special guests. But first, got to give some shout outs to everybody already in the chat waiting. I saw Cairo, Keegan, a whole bunch of other folks sitting in the chat already getting live, wasting no time. But I want to start off with a little something because you hear this and it should touch each and every one of you. I'm a fisherman. It's not merely something I do. It is who I am. Fishing is not my escape. It's where I'm supposed to be. It's not a place that I go, but a lifelong journey that I'm taking. It's a passage that was shown to me and that I will continue to show others. When you understand all of this, you will then know me and we will fish together. No truer words spoken than those from our guest tonight, Gene Jensen, the FLUKEMASTER. And you might not find that a whole lot of different places, but I was lucky enough. I'm not going to show that side of the card. But he told me I was the last one to get the last in the batch. And that is a passage on the back of Gene's card. And if you listen to those words, I mean, that's really what it's all about. You know, a lot of people, they talk tournaments and this and that and sponsorships. But when it comes down to it, it's that quiet time on the water or out with friends that means a lot to a lot of people. So, Gene, welcome. Matt, welcome.
Well, Happy New Year, everybody.
I can't take credit for that poem, though. We don't know who the author is, but I found it probably 8 or 9 years ago and put it on my YouTube channel and started using it because it's everything that I believe and do. It's right there, all in one big nutshell. So,
yep. Now, I already see going on in the chat, people's wanting to ask about the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series and all that. I'm literally going to do separate videos and probably a separate live just to cover all of that because there's a lot of people that's curious. Gene, and you've been, I know you were through this period a long time ago when you were first starting to teach and had people coming in and they were kind of, learning what you were throwing down, but got a lot of newer anglers in that follow the channel. I started up doing how to fish videos during the Rona when some people asked me to, hey, we know you fish. I went fishing with my dad and I don't remember a lot about it, but can you do some videos? And freaking 2 years, 200 videos and 22,000 family strong. You talk about some phenomenal growth, but putting together the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series is literally for the fishing fam and those who want something fun to do, want to be a little bit competitive and have some chance at some prizes. But we'll talk about some of the series tonight, but I'll get into a whole lot more details because over the winter, I'm going to do as I do some videos talking about how to fish these tournaments. You guys followed along. Matt, Jeremy, and I got into it a bit ourselves and found ourselves at the national championship where we got to sit down and have dinner with the FLUKEMASTER himself. Of course, talking over barbecue is what drew us all together. But yeah, so we'll get into all of that, and I'm gonna do a lot of different series on all of that stuff. And we got other Freedom Squad member Jeremy in the chat holding it up, everybody. But again, man,
imagine 3 fat guys sitting around a table talking about barbecue or food in general. I mean,
if somebody had put a plate of ribs in front of us, they'd have been in trouble. It was just they would have learned the opposite meaning of Army strong because we've been fighting for some bones and.
All right, Gene. Anyway, I got the first question.
Go ahead.
First question. How about those Bulldogs?
I barely survived this weekend. What are you talking about? That was the ugliest win I've ever seen.
Yeah, because it's either going to be the biggest kick of that kid's life or not.
Yeah, and I felt so bad for him. My immediate reaction was, dude, I feel so bad for that kid.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard too.
Yep.
But I mean, that's what makes the sports. I mean, right into the new year too. It's like, oh, 2023 sucks already, unless you're a Bulldogs fan.
Well, it's all good. It's all good. So we got a chance to talk and fellowship a little bit at the national championship. I know from your videos and your channel that you have been a part of KBF for a very long time. I know that you have helped Chad in being a co-host and doing things and not getting to fish as much because you're working. What was your motivation and drive, and how much of a grind was it this year to solely focus on fishing, put your celebrity status aside, and go fishing across the country? And how many events did you do?
Oh, goodness. Well, I've always told people throughout the years, I get the question all the time, why don't you fish tournaments? I always tell them I can only do one or the other. I can't do videos and tournaments. I'm going to give 110% to either side of it. And so I just finally decided, I said, you know what? I think I can maintain the income for a year on YouTube without falling off the cliff too far, and be able to fish tournaments and focus on that solely. So I took the risk at the beginning of this last year and started to fish tournaments. I don't know how many events I fished, not including the challenges. I fished 3 challenges and finished first in 2 of them and second in the third one. And then, oh gosh, I probably fished 7. Well, no, I probably fished 12 events in KBF total. Maybe even more than that, because there's 3 a weekend, if you want to count them individually.
Right.
But I went from Florida to South Carolina to Louisiana to Alabama to Utah. I had to cancel Arizona. That's when gas prices shot through the roof. So I had to cancel going to Arizona. And then I fished Kentucky and Tennessee. And I think that's it. I think that was all of them. But it was, I learned a lot about myself. I learned when I first started the YouTube deal, I put I sucked at tournaments and I put it aside. It was no problem to put it aside. I was just like, you know what? I just enjoy teaching people how to fish and watching people catch their first fish and doing all that stuff. So I put all that aside. But I just wanted to see in my personally, I wanted to see where I was. Kind of wanted to see, after all these years of teaching, learning new techniques and teaching those techniques, where am I in the realm of things? And there are some hammers in kayak bass fishing in the KBF. I mean, absolute, some of the best anglers in the world. So I knew I was putting myself out there up against some of these guys. And it was a lot of fun. It was really, I enjoyed myself. I got DQ'd from the Kentucky tournament because I was fishing out of bounds and didn't know it until my video came out and I told on myself. And it didn't bother me that I got DQ'd. It really didn't, because I knew I wasn't cheating, and 2, I didn't do it for the money or the clout or the trophy. Yep. It was for me.
I just know in one of the videos for the 10, you're sitting with your hands stuffed into your PFD. You're sitting in your kayak watching somebody else fish, and you're like, I hate watching somebody fish.
And you know what, Jody Queen, I was filming him one day in the 10, and he came up to me and said, I am so glad you're the one following me, because I know where he's going and I know not to get in the way and I know not to put my boat where he's going to be fishing. And I was still able to get some great footage with him fishing hard, and we could talk and everything else. It was just more laid back, and he wasn't worried about me getting in the way. Right. And it's something that only somebody who knows how to fish can do, because we had another cameraman on the water at the time that was getting all up in people's way. And, but yeah, dude, I don't know. It was a lot of fun, but I told Chad, it's like, I'm tired of co-hosting and sitting here and watching people fish.
So your goal was to make it to the 10.
Yep. My goal this year was to make it to the 10, because to me, that is the top.
Right. Now, do you want to go ahead and explain what the 10 is? Or
well, hold on. Slow down there, Mr. Asking all the questions.
Sorry. I'm excited. If
I know you
tell,
are.
I'm fanboy.
So to back up, since most of the fishing fam in the house are either getting into kayaks for the first time or have just kind of found themselves back to going fishing, you know, since they were a kid and whatnot. I mean, I've watched you for years. I've been kayak fishing since like 2012 or so, just in a little private pond here on the Navy installation that I work at. So I haven't been on public until the whole Rona hit. So I've watched you forever, but I had no idea about KBF. I had no idea who Chad Hoover was until I heard about Heroes on the Water when my brother was in the VA domiciliary, and you know, they have the Heroes on the Water tournament, and I was like, those guys help my brother and the dudes out. You know, I've got to help. I've got to contribute somehow. And so I'm like, I'm gonna go fish one of these catch photo release tournaments. Of course, then I do the go Googles and I run into Chad, and you know, it's been history ever since. But I had no idea until in the last couple of years that KBF was a thing, that you were even involved with it, because then it seemed like you were managing all of your content and doing kayak, bank, and boat fishing, and apparently doing all this other stuff as well. So for those out there who don't know, there are now there's up to 3 and 4 different several kayak bass fishing series on a professional level. And those who followed the channel this year watched Jeremy, Matt, and I try to qualify for this national championship using the state challenge series, which is basically for those of us that are just getting into it to basically learn the ropes. And we found ourselves down there in Paris and hanging out with Gene and the guys. But Gene, tell everybody why the 10 is even a bigger deal than the national championship that we were all at just a couple months ago.
So Chad has set the bar for the national championship kind of low comparative to the 10 and that kind of stuff. And that's so a lot of people can come and enjoy it and get to, you know, meet each other and stuff like that. So it is, and the championship is championship money, dude. You're winning championship money. And so it's a cool thing. And there's always a lot of entries. Now the 10 is, you have the trail series throughout the year. Okay. Every weekend or every location has 2 trail tournaments, Saturday and Sunday. So each of those are individual tournaments. And this past year, your best 3 finishes were your total score in Angler of the Year points. This coming year, it's your best 4.
Okay.
But this year it was 3. And so I ended up after the national championship, and the national championship is a 1.5. It's worth more. But after my finish in the trail series during the trail series championship, that was the first 2 days of the national championship, I ended up second in Angler of the Year points in the trail. And so the 10 is the top 10 anglers in Angler of the Year points at the end of the year get to go down to Florida and fish head to head against each other for 2 days. And this year is, I can't, Chad hasn't announced it yet, so I can't say, but this year's going to be really different. And the 10 guys all know about it, but you guys don't yet. But we're really excited on the new challenge of what the 10 is going to be this year. It's just going to be awesome. But so yeah, it's the top 10, and we're competing. It's expenses paid to get down there. No entry fee for the 10 of us, and we're competing for. I think the top guy wins $10,000, and then the bottom guy ends up going home with $1,000. If I remember correctly. Don't quote me. I could be completely wrong, but that's the way it was last year, if I remember correctly.
You've only spectated. It's okay.
Right. And I've always spectated. I've always been in the house, in the command house, and done all the camera work and work behind the scenes, helping out and stuff like that in every single 10 that there's been. And so, yeah, I was sick and tired of doing that. And that's why I was grinding hard this year.
So can you explain the house real quick, how that works?
So this is going to be different this year, but typically when we were up in Orlando, because we're down in Polk County this year, but last year in Orlando, they rented it, or the city rented us, because Chad had a contract with Orlando, 2 huge 10-bedroom homes in these big gated communities that are all rentals anyway. And we'd walk in, you know, the guys in the 10, the competitors would walk into their bedroom, and their bed was covered with sponsor stuff that they got to take home, like Yeti coolers and like everything, catch boards and the whole 9 yards. And so that's all the free stuff that they get when they first get there. And then they get to hang out in the house and eat there and talk to each other while they're fishing against each other and stuff like that. This year it's going to be a little different. We're going to be down at Camp Mac, which is on the canal between the Kissimmee and Hatchnahaw lakes. And so it's going to be more of a hotel style thing. It's not going to be as high class because there's no high class facilities down in Polk County as there are up in Orlando. But still, it's going to be the same clout, the same everything else. It's just going to be a lot of fun. And Chad's going to be covering it on all social media and that kind of stuff. So
by himself.
No, he's going to have a crew down there, but I'm not.
Well, but I mean, he won't have.
I'm sure Sam's going to be down there helping out.
Sam will be down there. Scott might be down there. Yeah, it's going to be him -1.
Right.
So I'll go ahead and jump into this question because I put out when I started making posts about this last week for questions that they had for you. But since we're talking about the 10, RJM Fishtails, our buddy from South Carolina, says, Gene, I heard you say you're only doing the tournament in Florida and then going back to concentrating on YouTube more for 2023. What made you decide to do this and go back to putting more effort into YouTube?
Because if I don't, my channel will fall off the cliff. It will. I've really got to bust out some stuff, or you're going to see YouTube no longer pay attention to me, and people won't be able. And my goal has always been to find that one guy that wants to learn how to fish. And so, if I don't stop and grind, then there's going to be issues. And so my goal, I think I'm probably with the 10 so close. I think I'm going to start slow. But my goal is between 80 and 100 videos by the end of the year. Wow. I'm going to do real bait heavy videos this year with some other stuff mixed in. Bait videos for me are just real easy to do them quickly. I can get them out. They'll have all the detail that I've always put in them. And then I'll have plenty of time during the month to film the more detailed stuff. Now I'm back to editing my own stuff. My son left on a 2-year mission trip 3 weeks ago. So I'm back.
Great young man, by the way. That was a real pleasure meeting him.
Yeah, he's a good kid. He's a good kid. I got 4 kids, and they're all good. He's just he was easy.
He was easy.
So the next question comes from Jeremy Way, J-Way from Twitch. He said since you're talking about bait making video, he wants to know what are you throwing this time of the year, and what are you targeting?
So this time of the year, I'm targeting crappie or crappie, depending on what part, or specks or whatever you want to call them, depending on where you're from.
Yeah, they're crappie up here. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's typically what I get. I spend January and February just catching crappie and filling up my freezer because it's the only freshwater fish I really like to eat. And then, but if I'm bass fishing, I'm fishing deep. Our water's below 50 degrees. It doesn't freeze here, thank the Lord. But I'm throwing hard baits like blade baits and tail spins and underspins and Alabama rigs. Gosh, there was one more that I wanted to mention. I can't remember what it was, but I'm fishing anywhere from 15 to 35 feet deep on my home lake. I'm not traveling much except for this is trade show season. So it's kind of hard to mix in traveling to a lake and mixing in trade shows. So you guys know, I mean, I'm coming up to Matt's place when
February 16th or whatever.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, the Indianapolis Boat Motor Sports Show, or whatever we call it, is in the middle of February, and both FLUKEMASTER and Chad Hoover will be up here doing seminars, and be a good time to get out and meet them, and then come check out the new kayaks, because we're going to have actually, as I understand it, 2 pools in the convention center this year that's going to be filled up with kayaks for those of you who want to come out and check it out. So it'd be a good time to come, put your butt in a kayak and check it out, because obviously all 3 of us are here to promote not just bass fishing, but kayak fishing, because for us it's a great form of recreational therapy.
Yep.
Well, and the other thing on that too, the Heartland Kayak Festival, I'm telling you right now, I've been to the Boat Sport and Travel Show in Indianapolis. If you're anywhere close to Indianapolis, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, or whatever, and can make it, come. It has like one of the largest sections. It's almost as big as the glitter boat section. Not quite as big, but they took up a huge amount, put this pool in. They have every kind of kayak you can think of to test on water, and you'll have the pros walking around. Sam Jones will be there, but then you can do the meet and greet with Chad and Gene and others and learn about IKA
and test out kayaks, which is huge.
Yes.
Yep.
Like actually get on the water in them. And I watched people that had no clue last year about a kayak or how to paddle or nothing, and I didn't see anybody fall in. Yep. So it's an amazing show. And Gene, have you been up here for this one before? Since
before it got big, years and years ago.
Okay. So
from what Chad says, it's pretty close to being just like bigger than the Paddle Sports Expo that's every year, which is all paddle sports. So
Moving Waters, who is the title person company who did this, which is where we have gone, they're amazing in the community for all of Indiana and kayak bass fishing. So, yeah. Oh, American Legacy Fishing in the house.
So since you were talking about your son, he's going off on a thing. Real quick recap for a lot of people who don't know, because there's probably a lot of people who don't know this. Talk about his accomplishments this year, because I've got a buddy that's in the chat here that is a high school angler, and since you just basically kind of coached one up, he's wanting to know if you have any advice for somebody in high school to get him started up.
So Jordan is the very first KBF high school angler of the year. Was my son. I'm proud of him for it. He worked hard at it. There wasn't a whole lot of entries, just because there wasn't a lot of college kids or high school kids that were into kayak fishing, I guess. I don't know, but it's the biggest thing I tell you is get on Facebook and look for. And I know a lot of the young guys aren't on Facebook. A lot of them are on other, TikTok and all that other stuff, and I am too. But get on Facebook where people talk about these tournaments and see if there's a local high school tournament series going on for kayaks. I know Georgia has one run by Ron Champion, just for high school kids, and they're starting to get a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger every year. You can start a club in your high school if you've got the big boats, if you want to fish out of big boats and stuff like that, which is a little difficult. My wife and I did one for our high school, and then we're in our third year right now. And it's just the hardest thing is to find people that will captain their own boat and take the high school kids out on tournaments. But it can be done. So it's just a matter of just sitting down and doing research and figuring out how that's done. I'm not an expert at that side of it, but Jordan was the captain of the high school team, and he had a lot of push behind it until he graduated, and we're hoping that it survives without him. So.
And I'll tell Keegan, because I've met him before. He's down in Evansville near my title sponsor, American Legacy Fishing, but also for us, the bluegrass wildlife area. And in this state, that's where the tanks reside. It's the very bottom of the state. And most of our state champions, Mike Elsa, Matt Kiefer, all of these guys, they fish those pits down around bluegrass. So Keegan, I'll tell you this again, once you get a kayak, be out there on the water in the springtime. Go up and talk to these guys, meet them. You would be surprised. That's the one thing I love about the kayak fishing community is we have zero problem sharing information, talking about kayak fishing, sharing techniques. Hey, what's working here? Check a spot out like this. You have a lot of mentors down in that area that would probably take you under their wing and really help get you started. And you'd be amazed how much you would learn, and then start getting into some grubby tournaments. If you've got he said he just got his SS 127. So I know these two goobers will go ahead and he's off to the right start.
He sure is.
Hey, you're good now.
So you have a lot of hammers down in your area. So spend time on the water. That is a key thing.
Yes.
If you're not old enough yet to fish, grubby tournaments yourself, you know, try to see if you can get a parent or something. But if not, then just get out and just fish.
I mean, you can watch all my videos you want, but it's not going to do you any good unless you get out in the water and learn how to do it yourself.
Yep.
You know, I can point you in the right direction, but I can't get the fish to grab the end of your line.
And you can't.
I tell people a lot. You know, I tell people that a lot too, because you know, spend your time in the wintertime. We all make videos. We make videos on how to tie various knots, what situations we use them for, you know, what type of line to use for what. And we talk about that because right now, especially up here in the Midwest and North, this is the time to be learning and practicing all that so that it's become second nature. You're not trying to look up a knot video on YouTube while you're out in the middle of trying to catch fish. This is the time to lock in those basic skills.
So the other thing on that is that you can learn. Did we lose Gramps?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. The other thing is, yeah, you can watch videos like they both said, but until you get on the water for the wind and weather conditions and water clarity, and you just have to put time in. And I'm still new at it. Like, I've fished for a long time, but last year was the first year in a long time that I've focused on fishing, and I got better and better and better because I spent more time on the water last year than I did the entire time I ever tournament fished back when I was young. So it's just time on the water. You'll learn so much. Don't even try to think about, okay, I need to catch a 20-inch fish. No, just catch fish. Then you learn more and more and more. So
Yep, for sure.
And don't get overwhelmed with, oh, I have to have this kind of electronics or $600 rods, or I can grab a $100 Walmart combo and catch the same fish I would with half of those.
My depth finder was a Carolina rig for about 20. My depth finder was a Carolina rig for about 20 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Or rod. Your rod. You stick your rod down.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, Gene's got a great video on using a Carolina rig from the bank to learn how deep the water is. That's one of my favorite bank fishing videos of all time because it's so true. Once you kind of learn where it's at, you can actually feel a lot with the Carolina rig. And it seems like that's not a thing. It's like a sleeper. It's like the tube was for a while. It went away, and then people are like, oh yeah, we have these things. Except now we also have them with tungsten and can feel everything even more.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just time on the water. I mean, these guys are pros. I'm a schlep, so.
I learned so much last year from having the goal of fishing more than 200 days.
Yeah.
You know, I learned so much, and I can't wait to make videos about it. But it's just, you get, the more you're able to do it, which, you know, fortunately I can do it every day, but the more you're able to do it, the more in tune you get, the more, you know, even if you go from one lake to another, one state to another, you're like, oh, and you figure it out like twice as fast. So the more time that you can get on the water, don't skip school. I did all the time. So don't skip school and go fishing. But you can go out and have a blast. Yeah, I went to a private school my junior and senior year, and my principal's name was Mark, and he would ask my girlfriend, "Where's Gene?" She'd look outside at the sky, say, "Oh, it's a beautiful day, isn't it?" Because I didn't have to be to school my senior year. I didn't have to be to school till third period, so I made sure I had something to do. So,
Gramps, you got any chat questions you want to throw in?
I was just going to say that my youngest, John Michael, was like one of his favorite things when he was a kid was waking up watching Bill dance, and then we'd go hit the lake later on so we can kind of practice and do what we kind of saw coming up. And, you know, for us, that was just a great time away from sports and everything else that was our quiet time with no pressure, no tournaments, you know, none of that kind of stuff. It was just pure fishing for the pure love and pleasure of fishing, and, you know, just having a good time. And that's solely going to be a big part of what I can't wait to get back into next year for sure. Because I'm kind of like you. I'm going to be doing less, even though I'm going to be playing a little more. But my focus is going to be a whole lot more bass fishing, a whole lot more crappie fishing, hopefully a lot less editing.
This too, the Catch 22 stuff.
Yep, definitely the 22. So talking about the Catch 22, we actually got that up and rolling on Fishing Chaos again this year. We were able to raise just under, but Chad rounded it up, $5,000. So for all of the fishing fam out there, and there were a lot of you that participated in that. And I'm betting we probably made up a good bulk of the people that were in that. So all of you that are out there, thank you for that. And to kind of kick this off, Adam Oden was the first Fish and Fam member this year to upload a fish to catch 22. So Adam, I got a box back here for you. You get the first prize of the year for our giveaway. So you got the first fish on the board that I saw from the Fish and Fam. So you won tonight's giveaway just by doing that and participating. But I encourage everybody, get out there, grab you a catch board, grab you a catch board, and bank or kayak, get after it. There's going to be, we just gave away 3 kayaks. Chad gave away 2 bona fides and that old town Cadillac. And the cool thing was a Marine that I met down at the KBF-NC from Valparaiso, Indiana, old Joe. Old Joe's not old, he's young. But he won one of those bona fides. So make sure you guys get in that Catch 22. It's for a great cause, as you guys all know. And it's a fun way to spend time just catching fish and uploading fish. Me, Matt, and Jeremy were kind of in a little thing until my yak sank. And I was out of the running for too long, fishing out of my boat while they were still fishing out of the kayak. But the cool thing was there were a lot of people that participated to catch those 22 fish. And then we kept going throughout the end of the year till Jeremy just kind of pulled away and we had never had a chance to catch him. But it was a fun charity event. And again, I encourage everybody to do that. But Chad made a good point. If you join KBF as an ambassador, it's like $25. You get that back in coupons. And then you can take that to go to Fish USA and buy you a catch board. And, so it's for a couple of different good causes. Jeremy didn't win anything. He just
had the total number of inches
that was
and
the
catch
thing.
22. Yeah.
And I don't like getting beat, so I'm gonna be in my yak the whole season this year.
Bragging rights. Yeah.
It was all about bragging rights because when I got these 2 yahoos that can spend twice as or 3 times more time on the water than I can.
But you got the Cadillac.
I do now.
Excuses are like buttholes.
Yeah, I know.
We've all got them, and they all
stink. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
We all know what I went through in May and then how long I was out of the water without a kayak for a while before I got the Cadillac. But, losing a couple of months hurt. So
all right, I got a tournament question for you, Gene. Just so people can understand. So in one of your videos from last year on the trail, I think it was the Utah tournament. You were fishing later in the afternoon. Your bite wasn't happening the way you thought it was, and you had to pull out, and you were fishing a Carolina rig with 4 hours left to go. And you were really I hate doing this, but you were catching fish. Not very often. So I noticed there were 4 or 5 boats around you within 100 yards. So was it because the lake was small, or was it because they knew you and wanted to just hang around you?
Was I catching largemouth or smallmouth?
I think you were catching greens then.
Okay, so that would have been Percy Priest in Tennessee.
Was that Tennessee?
Were they big boats?
No. They were yackers. They were other competitors.
Kayakers. I don't know where that was. Me and Damon were fishing the same spot because we both found the spot in practice on Percy Priest. In Utah, it was all smallmouth. And they're very social, those kayakers, which I learned pretty quickly. I caught my first fish in the morning. I'd had a bed marked on my GPS that I couldn't see because it was still not light enough. But I got close enough to it and made enough casts to be able to find where it was, and then made a few more pitches and caught it. And I went down to measure it, and I measured it, took my pictures, picked it up, put it on the fish grip, put it back down, and looked up, and there were 4 kayaks. Right there. And I'm like, where in the world did you guys come from?
Well, I think that might have been it. They looked like they were just all over.
Yep. And I got up and I left, but I left because I knew that was the only one I was going to be able to catch that early in the morning, and I was gone. But
let them sit there and fish it for the rest of the day.
Yeah,
chasing.
but it's the group in that club. A lot of them fish tournaments, but they don't fish them seriously, and that's kind of why it didn't really bother me much. is more they do it for the social aspect of it, not so much the competition. And so I just took that with a grain of salt and went on to my next spot and kept on rocking and rolling and ended up fourth in that tournament. So
yeah, you did really good in that one.
Yeah, it didn't hurt me, but it's just one of those things. When they do get around you, my train of thought is, well, they can sit here and watch me catch them.
Yep.
Yeah, that's always been my train of thought. I don't care. It doesn't, and if they start catching them, then I'm paying attention to what they're doing, and they're going to teach me something.
Well,
so
I know JT, Jeremy, and I all during the national championship, we were doing more of the social, having fun while we were still trying to compete. We stayed out of the pros' ways. Like if they were coming down the bank, I'll be like, hey man, you do whatever because we knew, Yep. So there is a level of courtesy and stuff that you just need to. It's just etiquette. So
I had a whole creek to myself in the national championship.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And how many fish did you catch?
Enough.
Yeah, I know. But before that, you told it. So here's a funny story. When I first met him in person, he was walking across the parking lot, and I'm not shy. And I said hi, introduced myself. And he goes, how you guys doing? I said, we're not bad. That. And he goes, I've fished 365 days and blanked 5 days, and all of them have been here in Kentucky.
Yeah,
on this lake.
I hadn't caught a fish for the 4 days before the tournament started. I didn't catch a single fish.
Yeah.
And so I think I was the only one in the top 10 that was fishing the main lake. Everybody else was up a creek.
Yep.
And I was on a main lake creek. I literally was all the way to the mouth of a creek on the main lake and working my way up and down points both days or all 3 days.
Yeah.
And so, but that's what I was proud of. I was like, yeah, y'all can go back and beat your boats up on those rocks and stuff. I'm going to stay out here and I'm going to do exactly what I need to do and not be bothered by anybody. And
we were fishing in a main lake creek arm too.
Yep. It's so much fun.
We didn't. I never got out to the front of it.
Yeah,
because I was paddling, and
Yeah.
Excuses. It was windy and cold.
I got
that wind, 29-degree and wind. Yeah, it was. Yeah, we were in an area with Casey Reed and Alex Minner, and they were just making milk runs to their spots. So we would see them coming to kind of get out of the way, and
Drew Stoots was in there.
We had kind of scouted and found some spots of our own that we were going to fish, but I kind of even stayed out of the way on Friday until that afternoon. I was like, Casey's not been over here all afternoon. I'm going to go sit on my point, and I'm going to get out of 100th place and move up to 85th. So all morning I played with my forward facing, trying to learn it some more. But speaking of which, is that technology that you play with quite often, or do you rely mostly on down and side?
It's saved almost every tournament for me this year.
Yeah.
Except for the national championship. I didn't even have it on the boat.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I did. I can't remember when. I think I left the fish finder off, but I kept the transducer just in case, because I can plug it up to my single fish finder if I need it. But I never used it because I was fishing so shallow up on the points. So what I literally was sitting shallow, throwing deep with a chatterbait, and slow grinding it on the rocks up the hill. And so that causes it to skip and bounce up the hill, and they would just pick it up, hammer it up against the rocks, and then pick it up and swim towards me. And so the bite was kind of sluggish, but man, it would be flurries of 4 or 5 fish in a row. Chad tried to call me right in the middle of one of my flurries, and I just about cussed him out. But I hung up on him.
That's the way I was Friday, because I ended up on Thursday. I blanked day one on Thursdays when I had my comeback, and I actually was catching them off a brush pile using the forward face and throwing a little, just Texas rig worm into these, and just until I got bit. And then when they didn't want to play anymore, crankbait, I found one little patch of grass, and I knew it was good because Casey Reed kept coming right by there. And I'm like, there's a reason why he wants here. And then I caught the 18 3/4 that I needed to put me in a shot to get there. And then I just, for whatever reason, with 5 minutes to go, picked up a spinnerbait and started throwing it at boat docks and pulled out the one fish that I needed to slip into that number 100 spot.
Yep.
But I mean, it was such a blast. There's so much drama, but I love that. And, for us, our only goal was to make it into the 100, besides being there and just, hanging out and, You know, for us, the 10 was the 100, and I'm still hoping to get my board in. You know, supposed to get it after the new year, but still waiting for that. That's my big trophy. But I mean, it was so cool watching and meeting all of you guys and talking to everybody, because that's, like you said, that's one place where it's like our big convention to be able to do that. So for anybody out there, you know, if we can do it, you can do it. You qualify through, you know, the state challenges. If you're not going out doing the big tournaments, it's a fun way to go out and see all of the big dudes who do this, you know, year round. But it was fun. But I'm ready to get back and do a whole lot of fun fishing and making some videos about the adventures of kayak fishing this coming season. That is for sure.
Well, and to circle it back to the catch-22 stuff, if you're intimidated or whatever about what we're talking about with these tournaments and things, catch-22, still catch, photo, and release. You still got to measure your fish, but you're not being really judged on it. You just upload your 22 fish. It's a way for you to learn, to get into it. And then if you're, you know, once you get comfortable with taking those pictures, then you can bump up to a monthly state challenge, which is where I started. Actually, the first tournament I registered for was the Big Bass of the Year at, you know, the whole year long. You get a largemouth and a smallmouth. And they were like, that's an easy way to, it's an easy way to start tournament fishing. You don't have to go to a lake. And then once I met JT and Jeremy, Gramps was like, hey, I'm fishing bogs in this grubby tournament on this day. And I said, okay. And it's the first day I had ever had my boat out on a real big lake. And bogs is not big, but so yeah, it's anybody can do it. Anybody can do it.
Yeah, and it's fun. And, you know, so using that as a segue into something that still I really anticipate is going to be super fun, the not so serious yet could be serious knucklehead bass fishing series coming up this year, where it's going to be a bunch of monthly challenges, and you can get into it. And it's really cheap, like $15, and earn your way onto a spot with Team FLUKEMASTER, Team GRAMPS, Team Chad Hoover. Wendell Fishing is going to have a team. His is going to go later in the year. I think we're going to get Alex Rudd in here. So it's going to be another fun way to get folks out there. And it's a month-long thing, so it's not real pressure. And again, if you win it, and yeah, you get a chance to fish with us at what we're going to be calling the Hero Cup on Veterans Day down in Huntsville. But the primary point of this is to get you out and having fun. And the key thing is, it's for bank anglers and kayak anglers. So all you need is a catch board and a phone, and catch and measure your fish. You're learning that process. But the reason why I think this is so awesome and so cool is Chad's going to be working to get some various sponsors, and I'm going to be trying to work with Old Town. If I have to buy a kayak to give away for Team Gramps, I'm going to. You guys that have followed the fam know that I joined the Old Town Pro staff this year, and you know I'm going to buy a kayak, whatever it takes, and that will be one of the prizes that I give away. That anybody who participates in one of my challenges will be, your name will be put into the drawing. It's not going to be whoever wins and gets to do all that. It's going to be a way to put somebody who's been a bank fisherman, or if you've got a yak and you're looking to kind of upgrade to a little better fishing kayak, we're going to provide those opportunities. And so each of the team leaders is going to work with their sponsors and people they know. And, of course, I'm still, Tiny Gramps, and I'll be doing what I can with those I know, and I'll be leeching off of Gene's and Chad's, folks too, because there's a lot of people in the industry that support what we do.
Yep.
And because the goal is to get more people into kayak fishing, and get you guys to understand what it is that we love so much. You know what I'm saying? And I've also got a second kayak that I'll be making available to take people out on when we do the Freedom Squad get-togethers, so others can kind of get on the water with us and try this out. Ralph, I'm talking to you, Mr. Fort Knox, before you PCS to California.
Yeah, wherever your next command is, Master Sergeant.
Oh,
yeah,
look
Master
at
gonna be out
Gino.
there. Master gonna be out there at Fort Irwin.
He's going to the NTC.
They're gonna lose you in the sand.
He was talking. He was talking about. We were laughing because it's like, okay, what if you get Fort Polk, like the butthole of the Army? At least there's fishing there.
Well, let me fill in the blanks. Let me fill in the blanks with knucklehead bass fishing. So you joined KBF as an ambassador. You get all the discounts that you need to be able to get a catch board for dirt cheap. You know, the little carbonite catch board is about all you need. Bank fish or kayak fish. It's $15 a month entry fee. Yep, that board. $15 a month entry fee, which is dirt cheap. Now, to get away from having to have you guys fill out tax forms and getting away from Uncle Sam, that money's going to us. Okay, but what we're doing with the money, at least what I'm doing with the money, and I know Chad is, and I'm probably everybody else with, we're going to take portions of that money and well, I'll get to that in a second. So the winners of each of those tournaments, so I'm doing 4 months, February, March, April, May. Gramps, you're doing May, June, July, August?
April, May, June.
April, May, June. July. So we're doing 3 months.
No, 4 months.
4 months.
April, May, June, July. That's it.
Okay. But anyway, and so the winners of each of those months from our tournaments win a spot on the team. So the ones with mine will win. I'll have 4 guys fishing with me. So that's a 5-man team. And those guys get to come down to Huntsville, Alabama in October and fish a team tournament with me against Chad and all the other YouTubers that we're getting. What I'm going to do with portions of my money is make sure I help pay for your trip down there. And so that's kind of what the entry fees are going to go for. So that, and they're also going to go to buy prizes. I'm going to get as many kayaks from Bonafide as I can get. And those are going to become prizes throughout either the months or at the championship or whatever. But the tournament in October is going to be a blast.
No.
Trying to think of anything else I'm missing. Not that I can think of.
Because there's also going to be there's a fish in team.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, fish off. So one of Chad's ideas, and I'm not going to try to explain it totally because I don't quite understand how it's going. But at the end of the 4 months, or at the end of August, so during September, we're going to have another tournament for just those guys who caught 5 fish limits, I think, in all of our tournaments. And then the top 5 from them become a team. From that tournament becomes a team. And I don't know how he's going to do that. So just stay tuned for all of that. So you don't really need to know about it anyway until September or August.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
But it's just a good opportunity, and to compete in something that's really low cost. It's just going to be a lot of fun. The other thing is I want to talk as much trash as I possibly can online between all of these guys. If you've ever been on a boat with me or out with me, I'm a trash talker to the point where people have called me mean on my videos. But
fun.
But yeah, it's just going to be a good time. And our goal, our hope is in the year or two, grow it to where we've got a bunch of YouTubers doing it. It's just one big party when we get down there. And we just have a blast.
Well,
Doug King wants to know if there's any advantage to signing up with more than one of you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, you increase your odds of making one of the teams. But also, I'm probably going to sign up for Gene's and Chad's and most of the others because then I'm donating to their
right.
Yeah, exactly. And if you do sign up for multiples and you end up winning more than one, then we get to pick which team we let you pick which team you want to be on, and then the next guy down on that other tournament wins.
I was going to ask that question.
Yeah, the next guy down wins. So you can only qualify for one team.
Yeah, because if I win Chad's, I'm going to fish on his team, and then I'll have 5 other people fishing for me, and then I won't catch a fish.
I don't think it works that. We better get you a contract.
I don't think so either.
Keegan, I'm going to answer Keegan's. Keegan, it's called the Knucklehead Bass Fishing. Here, look at my shirt. Knucklehead Bass.
Move your strings. And
right?
KNUK
So
head.
if you go on Fishing Chaos, it's there.
Yep.
You can sign up for Chad's got, I think he's going to get you guys the same thing, but Chad's got one where you can fish all of Chad's events. It's $55 total for all the
so it'll
months.
save you some money if you do all 4.
Saves you $5. And I know that you guys both requested. I don't think it's there yet, but they'll get it taken care of. So instead of signing up individually, so all you do is you fish those months, upload your photos with your catch board. Again, you got to have a catch board, so that's where signing up for KBF is a thing. I put the link in the YouTube chat. I don't know if anybody got it anywhere else, but just become a member and then get your catch board. And you can be a part of this. Now, the way it was explained to me, because I asked, because I'm a Gramps guy, but I'm a fanboy of Gene, and I'm a friend of Chad's now, right? So obviously, I'm Team Gramps. However, I will not be competing. I'll be donating because I am cooking that weekend for the competitors. So my wife and I are pulling our smoker back down to Huntsville. So that means I don't get to bring a yak. I'll have to bum a yak if I want to fish any from Chad. So, and that's always hard to borrow a fully rigged kayak that's not yours. So,
especially when it's got a remote control and
yeah. He put me in an old orange town.
So you go. I'm checking Fishing Chaos. You go on Fishing Chaos. You go to the Knucklehead Bass Fishing one. Then you click on register and then do all that stuff. And then you'll get to tickets and you'll see Team Chad, Team Wendell, May, Team Wendell, June, Team Wendell, August, and stuff like that. Let me see. And I'm on there, Team FLUKEMASTER. And you just enter the ones you need to. I don't see the one where Chad has one for himself.
It's under Wendell's. Like if you go keep scrolling down, he's got Chad all 4 or something like that.
Chad all 4. I got you. I may have to have him do that for me. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I mean, it's easier instead of doing individual tickets, I think.
Yep. And those of you who have never used Fishing Chaos, it is so easy to use once you've used it a little bit.
Yep.
It's simple to learn. A lot of the bugs we worked out of it in the first few months. And the cool thing is the IT guys are right there in Texas or in Alabama now. And they're right on it if things start issuing. And there's actually a way to contact them during a tournament where you can email or message them and they'll email you back whatever you need, and you work back and forth to get issues taken care of. So anyway,
it's going to be a lot of fun because I know you guys are not going to because JT has been the master of memes with this weight challenge. And if we want to get into that for fish shops with the weight challenge, because all 3 of us are in that as well.
Yep.
We can talk about that. But JT sent a picture of Chad pointing at the scale being a cheerleader for Gene, I'm telling you, don't let him get around any of your photos that look halfway goofy because he's gonna kill. You don't have your son with you to help you on the electronic.
I saw that one. Well, I'm the biggest I've ever been, so this is a good opportunity to be encouraged to.
There you go. See that?
Lose weight.
See that, Gene?
Yep, that was great.
So we thought, I mean, honestly, because when I left Chad's on Veterans Day, I was like, I need to do something, and I was super motivated when I was out on the river, and I had to fish the river forever until the very end of the year. I was out with my brother and Bobby, Sandwich Searcher in the comments, and trying to chase some smallies because I haven't caught a smallmouth in forever, and there was a little ripple kind of thing, and I was like, man, I don't know, I'm too big, my knees aren't going to take this, but had that new Rogue drag strap, and Jeremy and Bobby had already pulled their yaks over, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot. And I did it, and I was so hyped that my knee held up. I was like, you know what? And that's where I was like, I got to get some of this weight off because I want more of that in my life. I want to go chase some 3 and 4 pound smallies and, just spend more time in the rivers because everything we have around here is strip pits, ponds, lakes.
Yeah.
We have a lot of that, but we have some rivers with some pretty good smallies in them.
That's my side goal this year is to get better with river fishing. you know, and I grew up creek fishing for trout. And so I know how to read water. I just don't do it much in the kayak. And with the new Bonafide River 129 coming out, you know, I've got within 15 minutes of where I'm sitting right now, I've got the Coosa, the Oostanula, and the Etowah rivers in Georgia, because the Oostanula and the Etowah come together to create the Coosa right here in my hometown. And so I got some of the best spotted bass and river striper fishing that there is right down the road. And so, yeah,
you're really looking forward to getting back to just fishing again, aren't you?
Yes, dude, I really am.
I
can tell. Because I mean, I was the same way, and again, like I wasn't playing at the same level you were, but it's just like we were trying to do all this just to go, just for the chance to be there, and it was fun and it was awesome. And for me, it was like making it to the Super Bowl, and you know. But yeah, I am ready to just get back, and I really want to focus this year on being a better editor, you know, making those videos that I like to watch. I love the fact that you're out there still teaching. I'll still keep doing some tips and tricks on shorts and whatnot, but I really want to show what it is that we love this, and I really want to try to capture that.
It's beautiful.
And you know, and kind of grow my channel that way. Greg Blanchard out in California, to me, just does that so well. And I want to be kind of a Midwest version of that, if that makes sense.
And with my tournaments, I tried so hard to copy his format, and I sucked at it. And, he's so his style is so smooth.
Yes,
you know, and I can't. I don't know. I'm a little too rough around the edges to be smooth. Greg Blanchard smooth.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the cool thing is everybody's kind of doing their own thing, their own way, and it gives a great mix of, you know, different styles for people to watch, and that's what makes it really fun. But yeah, I definitely want to get where I'm, you know. So I'll ask you this, because there are, you know, aspiring YouTubers that come in and pop in every now and then as well. What do you use to edit your videos, and where do you kind of get your ideas from as well?
At first I used Adobe Premiere Elements, which was their lower cost editing software. And back in the day, before you had to fill out it's subscribe for the crap, you could go buy it at the store, and you could buy last year's version for $50. And I would buy last year's version and use it for 2 or 3 years, and then buy last year's version and use it. You know, it saved me a lot of money. But I always recommend people at least buying the least expensive program that you can get. Of course, I don't know what free ones are out there now because it's been so long. But for me back then, it was you paid a little bit of money for good editing stuff, but your editing's not going to be professional effects and things like that. You don't need that for YouTube videos. And so now I use Final Cut Pro on a Mac. And the reason I do that is because Adobe now requires you to pay $100 or an ungodly amount of money for their subscription.
It can be like $30 a month if you're not like a student.
It's a ridiculous amount of money for how long I'm going to keep it. And so I buy Final Cut Pro for $400, but only have to pay it once. And over time, it saves me a ton of money. Yeah. And so
now, the reason why I'm asking that, because I've been using Filmora. It's a nice, simple, easy kind of thing. I bought a lifetime license, but they kind of just screwed everybody over. Now they've caved in because there were some big YouTubers getting involved to kind of like, hey, you guys said. But what that did was that lead me to go out and search. So I was looking at Premiere Pro and others, but a lot of people talk about DaVinci Resolve because they have a great editing software that's free, but then you can pay the like $300 and then have the full license. And apparently that's what a lot of you know, movie makers actually use as well. So, you know, I hate the fact that I'm gonna have to start over and learn from scratch, but you know,
Gramps,
part of
it. You're not learning. No matter what you do, you're not learning from scratch.
No, because even with
that's
DaVinci,
true.
it's really similar to Adobe.
You're definitely true with that.
So, but yeah, I taught myself using YouTube videos years ago. Is where I started. So, and that was before people were on YouTube.
Oh yeah, yeah. For everybody who was asking about my shirt, this is my work shirt. We make the things that go bang and boom and provide smoke and all that. That's the people always ask me, what does your shirt say? Click, bang, freedom. That's our motto.
That's it.
My oldest brother is a rocket scientist, but one of his hobbies is he's a pyrotechnician for a fireworks company, but he does it for free. He just loves doing it. And so he did the Winter Olympics in Salt Lake. He was one of the crew chiefs for one of the fireworks crews there.
Oh, wow.
And at the same time, he had a project he was doing in Russia. A little history. Russia used to have the worst early warning satellite system in the world that would read the reflections in the late 90s or late 80s, early 90s, maybe or later than that. But they was reading the reflection of the sun off the polar ice caps as us shooting rockets at them. And so my brother was part of the team that rebuilt the Russian early warning satellite system so they would stop thinking we were shooting rockets at them. And so after the Salt Lake Olympics, Russia, and he got detained at the airport because he smelled like gunpowder.
They did a gunpowder residue back when I was shooting, when I was flying on one of my bags. And they were like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "Dude, I just went this weekend and was shooting." Yeah. And I was shooting with Gramps, right? You know, and I threw spent brass and everything in there. So I didn't even think 2 seconds about it. All right. I have another question for you, sir. And you mentioned him. Can you tell, if you don't mind, because I think it's something about you as a person that people need to know, because I don't think it comes through on the video. Your relationship with Damon, how that happened, and how he became co-rookie of the year for KBF.
So my version of it, now Damon will give you the long, lengthy version of it because he loves to tell stories, and I love it. I love talking to him. He can talk your head off. But I met Damon out here at my local lake. We have a public fishing area that's right down the road from my house that is the #1 bass fishing lake in the state of Georgia right now. 100-inch days are common. You know, I've had multiple 114 to 116-inch month-long tournaments on that lake. So they're giants. But anyway, he was out there fishing in a little Ascend, the Bass Pro Shops green Ascend, when I first met him. And he kind of just started to follow me around and talking. And he's great at conversation. So, you know, me, I don't mind. And so he kind of slid up under my wing, and I would teach him some stuff, and I'd adjust and teach him, you know, casting angles and speed on how to fish stuff and that kind of stuff. And he'd just sit there and watch me. And I guess it was last year. He's like, I'm going to start fishing trail series. I'm like, well, he wanted to do it the year before. I said, wait. I said, don't. I said, wait till the beginning of the season, start it the following year, because then you can have a chance at rookie of the year if you end up doing pretty good. Now with Damon, he got hurt on the job. He broke his neck on the job and had to have his neck fused. And so he can't turn around and stuff like that very easily. He can't, and I pick on him all the time for it because that's me. But he got injured on the job and couldn't work anymore. So he had gotten to a state of depression that was unbelievably bad. And that's when his wife went and got him a kayak and told him to go fishing, and pretty much saved his life. And so he, that's kind of how it was about a month or two later when we met. So I started to mess around with him, but so he decided he was going to fish the trail series tournaments. And so he would come up. I'd usually get there early because I don't have to, I don't have kids to worry about and that kind of stuff. I do have kids, but they're old enough I don't have to worry about them. And so he would come up later, and I'd already kind of have an idea of what the lake was doing. So I'd kind of help him with pre-fishing, and then we started fishing, and I did not realize that he had done that well during the season to be even close to Angler of the Year or a Rookie of the Year. And so, but yeah, he ended up being co-Rookie of the Year. He won't accept Rookie of the Year because what's his name? Gosh,
Drew Stunts.
Yeah. Yeah. He's the other Rookie of the Year. They tied, and there was no tiebreaker in the rules, so Chad's got to pay them both.
Well, so from our standpoint, listening to that story as outsiders, there were way more tears than what you just explained. One, because there was not a dry eye, I don't think. Two, he was so grateful for your mentorship. Now, did he know who you were when he was following you around? Like actually know who you were, or just saw you out there?
I think so. But you know, if you guys have talked to me, you know,
Yeah.
I am who I am, and I don't think he realized. I don't know. If he did, he didn't put it. He didn't get all fanboyish on me. So he used to wrestle in WWF.
Yeah.
Right.
So you know, he used to hang around with all the guys we grew up watching and wrestling.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, like, okay. So for me, I'm a fanboy. I've already said, right?
Mhm.
JT had to shut me up because he's gonna have to shut me up again anyway. But I would not even have I might have gone by and just said hi and been like, I wouldn't have followed you around, like, because that's just creepy. You know, you could be like, you're gonna be on video. I got a stalker back here, you know, and then now I'm blasted all over the place. But
oh no, I have those on the lake too. I know which one. I can tell the difference between the two.
oh my goodness.
But yeah, if you know me, I'm like, I want everybody to catch fish. I would rather somebody else catch a fish than me. And so
Yeah.
I probably grabbed him and said, "Hey, come here. I want to show you something." And that's probably how it started. I don't remember, but that's knowing me. That's probably how it started.
I've watched people bank fishing down at the little pits we go to, and they're holding the spinning reel upside down and they don't know how to. I'm like, hey, let me just, you know. And when I'm live streaming on Twitch, people have asked me about, hey, how do you stop a backlash on a bait caster? I mean, that's all I ever do every single time. So I showed them techniques of, here, practice this first, turn the drag all the way up, you know, the magnetic drag all the way up. Make sure, because a lot of people try to cast like this, and that's not ergonomically correct. So you turn it sideways and you get more wrist action. It feels better. And I've had people come back into my chat going, wow. And I didn't ever think of myself as being able to teach someone how to fish, because that's you guys. That's both of you. Seriously, that's what your channels are about, you know. And it's just cool to be on here with both of you,
Well,
you know, and knowing JT. But
I want to talk a little bit about the history of all of this. So
yeah, that's where I was going to go. So
we were going to let you do that too. Go ahead.
The backstory of YouTube and of me, and the reason it all started is there's a lot of things. I had some Boy Scouts that wanted to learn how to fish, and I couldn't take them fishing because I worked weekends at the hospital. So the YouTube was there, and it was a free place to put videos. I was guiding at the Kingfisher Society at the same time, which was a high class resort bass fishing bluegill. It's the #1 bluegill lake in the world. You know, I was doing all these things, and it was like the perfect storm. It all came together. There was a guy by the name of Alan Warren. Alan Warren Outdoors out of Texas. He doesn't do outdoor shows anymore, but he was burned out, and he came over there to fish with us and film in some of his last years. And he said, and I was guiding with him, or I was guiding him, and he was like, you know, the whole outdoor world is turned into, hey, watch me fish and use the crap that I'm using. And he said, even Bill Dance doesn't do what Bill Dance used to do. And that's when the light bulb went off in my head. I was like, I love to teach. I love to guide, and I love to see people catch fish. I said, let me start this video thing I've been thinking about. Let me learn how to edit. Let me go. I sold half of my fishing tackle for my first piece of crap camera, which is right on the floor behind me back here.
Oh wow.
And learned how to learned how to edit and everything else. And I started making videos, and nobody was doing that on YouTube. Everything on YouTube that had to do anything with fishing was, hey, buy what I'm making, and woohoo, look at this big fish I caught. You know, there was nobody doing instructionals. And me, I started, and a couple of other guys started about the same time, and they're no longer around. I'm just the guy that didn't quit because I fell in love with what I was supposed to do in my life, which was teach people how to fish. And so, you know, here, lo and behold, 12 and a half, 13 years later, I'm still doing it, and still doing it the same way. And what I hated was everybody trying to sell you crap. And it's so hard for me to be sponsored.
Yep.
And it's like a fine line I got to walk, keep my sponsors happy because they pay the bills, but, you know, be able to keep that authenticity of, I don't care what I'm using, I'm going to teach you how to use it. you know?
Yep.
So.
Yeah, because you can, like we tell everybody, you can go to Walmart and pick up a combo and catch fish. You can go to American Legacy and get you the latest Loomis and Metanium and go to town and do it in style. And, you know, it's awesome. But,
Yeah.
I mean, fishing's fishing. We can still pick up a string, a pole, and still catch them. And that's what we love about it.
One of my favorite comments is when somebody calls me a sellout right after I do it. I'll make videos just for my sponsors because that's what I got to do. And I love when you're a sellout. And my response is, well, how much did you pay to watch this video?
Exactly.
Well, and why did you put the time in to watch the video?
Yeah. And then I explained to them, I spent probably $30,000 last year to make these videos. That money's got to come from somewhere.
Yep.
The negativity in this world, and especially on the internet, and
ridiculous,
has gotten. I love it and I hate it as far as social media and stuff, but
it's because nobody can reach to the screen and punch anybody in the nose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we've all been there.
No,
Come on, I met my best friend of 25 years. I punched him in the face and knocked him on the ground, and he stood up and punched me in the face and knocked me on the ground. We've been best friends ever since. And the problem with it now is we can't reach through our monitors and dot somebody in the nose.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And what I don't get is the ones who want to get on social media just yapping. I mean, I see them in the comments and in the live streams. Hey, it's like, hey, we all share the same passion. We all fish in various leagues. We're all promoting the same thing. We have the same sponsors.
Yeah, but there's just a whole new level of courage on the internet because they're.
Oh yeah, but I'm like, hey, let's put all that crap aside and let everybody fish how they want to fish. Fish the leagues you want. I won't fish a couple of leagues just because I ain't sporting all that, and I don't care because if you're not man enough to take it off, take it up person to person. If you got a problem, then you know, show up. That's all I'm saying, you know, and I don't care. I'm not out for any of that.
Come on, Ralph.
But my job is to just promote the damn what we love. Really what we love. And I don't get it. I really don't get it. I told Chad, I was like, there's one dude I'm just getting ready to go off on. It's like, you know, you're sponsored by so and so and so and so. How are you representing this company by tearing down somebody else who's selling and pushing and promoting the same things?
Yep.
What are you getting out of this? Your league is it's all fun, but I just don't get people, and I really don't care. I mean, the thing that I love, especially about the swing that KBF has taken with the knucklehead side, is getting back to the fun side of it. But again, a lot of it promote, and you know, it goes back to your buddy down there. He was battling some stuff, and you were there for him. And all three of us, and many of us in the chat, have friends that have been deployed multiple times, or their dad or cousin, brother, son. They're going through a lot of stuff and things, you know. Matt, you know, I know does as well. And he's one of the biggest advocates of checking on all of his buddies, because in the end of the day, we want to help get as many people out there, enjoy the outdoors, get out from being stuck inside. I played video games for years, and you know, that's cool in the wintertime, but when it's time to be outside, let's get outside and have some fun, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what we need to be doing, more of that.
So one of the things that, well, it doesn't happen much anymore because they transferred him over to Seattle, but I had a really good friend who I got my dog from. He is a psychiatrist in the Army. Actually, he dealt with all branches of service, and I was a medic in the Army, if you guys didn't know, and an X-ray tech. But he would, when I started this YouTube stuff, he would send me some of his worst patients who love the outdoors, and we would jump in a boat and I'd take them fishing. And I've got an open invite to the closed lake. There's a lake that's part of the public fishing area that's called the Trophy Lake. And it's open only 10 days a month. But the other days, all I got to do is call somebody if I got to take a vet fishing that's got PTSD, and they'll go open the gate for me and I'll go take him fishing. So it's just me and him on the body of water with nobody around. And if you don't understand, to kind of explain PTSD, and I know a lot of you guys are veterans, so you kind of understand this, but some of the worst ones and the things I've gotten from taking them fishing is Imagine yourself sitting at a red light down the street from your house with a car on every side, and your brain is telling you one of them's about to blow up, or imagine not wanting to leave your house. And so kayak fishing, a lot of them just don't want to leave the house because the anxiety is so stinking sky high.
Yep.
You get them out on a kayak and you'll hear phrases like, "This is magical," or my favorite one is, "I feel like I'm on a magic carpet." And I'm just, and the stresses go away because there's nobody around them. Nothing bad's going to happen. It doesn't even matter if they catch a fish. It's just, they're out there paddling away and just having a good old time. And so if you have a chance to take a vet fishing, and especially one that's suffering from PTSD, do it. The rewards are amazing. I've got great friends through all of this. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, and
like Chad said, while we are all veterans and we talk about them a lot, Chad refers to a lot of the folks as homeland heroes. Your veterans, your police, your firefighters, those people that have been working in those areas and hospitals for the last couple of years with no rest and massive losses. So we can expand that to other people who need to get out and enjoy it too. Even if it's just taking somebody to a state park and going for a walk, visiting, some parks and creeks and stuff like that. Just being outdoors really helps a lot of people. And a lot of, I think that's, with the last few years that we've been dealing with, it's a lot of people have kind of discovered that or rediscovered that. And that's why we've seen such phenomenal growth in a lot of outdoor activities. And I, for one, it'll probably end up saving my life. If not, I would have just sat here playing video games, eating myself to death, just enjoying the good cooking from Gran and playing video games. But I love the fact that I got so involved in this because somebody asked me to teach them. And I literally went to Walmart that night and picked up a Zepco combo and sat down and made a video about how to string it up, grab a bobber, worm, line, and go catch some bluegill. And it all kind of just started from there. It's funny how it happens. But now I feel like, and Chad's been talking about this a lot, and I know you probably have too. I feel like there's a real calling among a lot of us for what we're doing and what we have coming. And we all see it just having conversations. It's really awesome. It's just really awesome. I really can't say it enough.
Yep. Gene, I know you were sick, but you really did miss special weekend. Not because of the food or anything. You missed. Like I get goosebumps thinking about it.
Everybody had gotten the flu from me. There's no way I'd.
I know, but it was one of those things that was meant to be.
Yeah.
Like it was those people, that time, that day, that moment, it was special. And I'm glad to be a part of it and that I'm getting invited back, that I, at least I'm not, that big of a dork that I'm like, no, man, he can't come. So, and then you guys are going to be welcome into my home. Seriously. Like you're going to be treated like family because you are. So.
Well, and it was cool because that weekend for us, it was kind of like we were sitting around BSing at the dinner table down there. We're all a bunch of grown ass men. We're not here to fanboy and gush and gall. We're just talking to other dudes. And, it makes it easy sometimes that way because honestly, you probably don't get that a lot. And I know Chad didn't, but he got a lot of that over the weekend we were down there.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't, Mr. Hoover. It was the F's and U's and M's and, it pull my fingers. And, we had
there are times when I have to tell him to stop. So me and
JT,
Chad are like yin and yang, and I love it. That's why we're such a good brother, good brotherhood.
Yeah.
Listen to this, Gene, though. So now that you guys both have the guide stuff, JT owes Chad $100 for the frog lesson that he got. I think we need to make sure that he has to pay up on that.
No. That was I got the special invite to come down. I got the invite from the Chad Hoover to come down and catch a frogfish after. So Gene probably doesn't know this. I've had 2 years of the biggest joke going on hollow body frogs of not getting a hook in one of these damn things. And the channel has
had some blow-ups.
The whole community here loves this. So I made a deal, and they made me do this like last month. If I don't catch a hollow body frog by my birthday on May 5th, I have to use. I have to use this ridiculous Christmas party gone bad frog that I got from Monster Bass. And now here goes the chat. But if I don't catch a frogfish prior to, so Chad's like, hey, bro, come down before it gets, before he said, come down, I'll hook you up.
What's the bottom of that frog look like? I don't want to see the top of it. What's the other side?
It's white.
Oh, it's pure white.
That would work.
I'd catch fish on it. I caught
but
more
the hooks.
fish.
The hooks aren't.
So that lake in North Carolina that I used to guide on, that private lake, is 250 acres. It's called the It's called the Kingfisher Society, which was the company I worked for. It was 250 acres, had 50 feeders that fed twice a day, and the bass were all feeder trained largemouth, so they ate feeder food.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
And Purina developed a fish food at our lakes called Purina Aquamax Largemouth. The pellets were about that big around, and so the bass ate up, a lot until they got really big, and then they'd go out and eat the bait fish and stuff that's out in the water. But you could throw a frog behind you anywhere, you could just blind cast anywhere you wanted to and catch a fish on a frog. It was ridiculously fun. So
I've had frogs. I've been fishing between him and my brother. They're catching fish around me. Yeah, and I have a fish bite it and not get the hook.
Yeah. No, seriously,
I was literally on the phone with my brother, and I'm like, "Bang! Yes, finally!" And I go to pull my net and gone.
It loses it.
I had another tank take me down in the grass and spit the frog in the grass somehow, and so I come up with a big ass. I mean, I've got other video of a 4-pounder coming out of the water hitting it. I mean, it's the greatest misses video if I put this all together just right for the last 2 years. 2 years, not just a single season. So 23 is going to be my year. Else I have to fish that damn.
Well, yeah, we went to Bluegrass, and he said, I go, dude, they're busting on topwater, and he goes, I'm gonna throw this frog all day, and he threw it for 10 minutes and then switched over to a jackhammer.
Chatterbait.
Oh, I'm gonna have to show you some of my secrets.
See, well, you're a big Spro guy. I love me Spro frogs. I'm a believer. You hooked me.
But the one now, everybody now all of these people are sending me frogs. Like, I mean, religiously.
So
Debo has sent me frogs. So I get frogs in the mail all the time.
I help design.
But the one I keep trying to catch it on is what I call the Freedom Squad frog, and that was the USA flag one that Matt got me from Spro.
Yeah, the Spro one. Yep, I've got one on the shelf somewhere. We just moved furniture around, so I got a shelf somewhere. I've got one on there. Yep, but I tell you, the 13 fishing trash panda, I had quite a bit to do with the design of that. Okay. And everything that's wrong with the Spro frog, which I love Spro frogs, but I do adjustments and modifications. So everything that I modify on a Spro frog, it's already done to the trash panda.
Okay. Do you want some criticism or feedback on that, or do you not want?
It doesn't collapse well sometimes.
No.
What's that?
Okay, so I got a black one.
Yep.
And I threw it in some grass mats, and within 5 casts, it was white.
Huh.
Like, the whole bottom was gone. And when I'd get fish on, like I caught fish on it, it was tore up. Like you could tell.
I wonder if they changed something, because the ones I've got are made out of solid black plastic. Huh. Good. I'm glad you told me that. I'll bring it up.
When you're here, I'll show you my trash panda.
Yeah, I'll bring it. I know a guy.
I mean, I'm not complaining. The frog still fishes, but it was like. Now my Spros have worn too, but it took a lot to wear them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's one thing that 13's good at is admitting their mistakes and fixing them quick. So that's something they love to hear that kind of stuff, because then they can, because their stuff's made in China. So
yeah,
quality control isn't until they find out there's something wrong. Yeah, and so, which sucks, but that's just the way it has to be these days.
No, that's fine. And I'm not being critical either. I was just saying it literally, because if I want to fish a black frog, I don't want it to be white, or I'd throw a white frog. So,
noted.
Fun. Well, Matt, do you have any more questions for Mr. FLUKEMASTER?
I don't. Gene, you got any questions for us?
Actually, I want to talk about the guidance stuff that Chad and I are doing.
I was going to bring that up. I was going to let you pimp
if
that.
you go on Fishing Chaos, now mine is not completely set up yet because I've got to talk to the developers tomorrow to get something fixed. But if you go to fishingchaos.com or the app, click on charters, and you'll find Chad's guide page. But mine's about to pop up. I just haven't figured out what dates I'm available because I'm not going to do nearly as many days as Chad. But we're going to start guiding out of kayaks along the Tennessee River, based out of Huntsville at Chad's RV. And so Gunnersville, Pickwick, Wheeler, and I'm going to do Wheeler and Wilson because I know them a lot better than not Pickwick, Gunnersville, Wheeler, and Wilson. And I'm going to do Wilson because I know Wilson really, really well. And Chad doesn't want to do Wilson because it's a really good lake.
Yeah, he wants to keep it up.
But anyway, so it gives you a chance to do several different things. You can go on a full day trip, a half day trip, and you can bring your kayak and your tackle, or I can, for an extra $100, I'm going to supply a fully rigged out kayak. And then I'll, if you need rods and reels and stuff like that, I've got all that and tackle. If you just want to show up, fly in and show up and get an Uber down there, you can do that. And I'll have everything for you. Chad will too. And then the one I'm excited about is you can also book a 1-hour online seminar where you can stay home and we can sit down and do a Q&A. And, if you give me a topic you want to talk about, I can have all the stuff from my barn. I can pull tackle and everything else. And we can go and discuss all kinds of stuff from right here on the desk. And that'll be $100. Actually, it's going to, I say an hour, it will be, me. It's going to be hour plus.
Yeah.
But they have
you get your money's worth full show.
Yeah, I'll make sure you get your money's worth because I don't like taking people's money when I don't feel like they got enough. But anyway, so that's one of the things that Chad and I are doing to bring in a little bit more revenue, mainly so we can get away from having to worry about getting sponsors every year. Yeah. And having to jump through those hoops and stuff. I have some great sponsors, and then I have some that are okay, and so I want to get to the point where I have just my great sponsors that love and trust me and love what I do and leave it with that. But you'll see that in the next few weeks. Chad's, like I said, his is already up. I think Chad has to change something on his because our accounts are linked. And I can't launch mine until he tells the account that I'm a captain, and then I can launch mine.
Oh, gotcha.
So
okay.
I think that's the problem. That's why I can't launch mine. So he rigged it, so I can't do mine yet.
Yeah, he's just undercutting you.
So if you're looking for some one-on-one online lessons, with the man himself, going to the 10. When is that, by the way?
You better come with a notepad.
You better come with a notepad. Right. All right. So I want to mention one more thing. Make sure you go to the KBF store and buy you some knucklehead gear. If you are a knucklehead, and I'll show you again. The U in this knucklehead, the reason why it's underlined is because that's you. You are the knucklehead because we are all knuckleheads, as Chad would say. So support the project because the proceeds from the sales of the merch is going to help fund things for Catch 22, KBF, for everything, for prizes and stuff. And they gave out, it was amazing watching that prize giveaway on December 22nd with Chad.
That was awesome.
It was so much.
And I see one of our kayak winners in the chat tonight. Joey's out there. What's up, my brother?
Joey, you picked that yak up yet? You gone down there?
He should have picked it up yesterday, shouldn't he?
That was the guy who won the Old Town. He won one of the bona fides. I think he won the bona fide that was on that same trailer as the Old Town.
He got the P127, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So he got the fully wrapped. I know he's excited and jacked about that too. So
and if anybody wants if anybody wants to buy my P127, it's down at Westbrook Supply Company for sale.
There you go.
I love your rigging video on your boat, by the way. And that supply company, dude, that I wish I could do that with my RS-117. I did it, but not like yours. It's close.
Well, I used to.
I was going to try to do that on some kayak that wasn't weight rated.
Well,
in my defense, I used to build all electric aluminum boats, and so that's it's just the same thing, just made out of plastic, and just smaller. And so I used to. We have all these electric only lakes around Atlanta, and there's several huge trail series that go on, all electric trail series, and so I had a couple of UPS drivers. I always had them be on a lookout for old trackers in people's backyards with trees growing out of them. And I'd go offer some old lady $900 for a boat that their husband once owned, and buy it and gut it out and build it and put two 50 or two 80-pound thrust trolling motors on the back and one on the front, and put a live well in it and rig it up with lights and everything else. And then I'd sell it, make $6,000 or $7,000 on it. So
it's amazing to me the amount of videos out there like boat rebuild, and get massive attention out there. So.
Yeah, I was one of the OGs with that back in the forum days. I used to do that. So
your channel is one of the first like true fishing channons, right?
Yes.
So just so you people know, I mean, you've heard us talk about him, but he's really a big deal. I mean, I know look behind over on above his right hand shoulder. You don't just get one of those plaques from YouTube for nothing. So
that was the very first fishing YouTube play button. I was the first fishing YouTuber to 100,000 subscribers.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yep.
Chad's is sitting in the headquarters, and I'm like, "Are you going to do anything with this?" And he was like, "I'm like, Chad, you do know it's really a big deal." And he was like,
"It's a big deal."
Yeah, you're right. Maybe I should put it up somewhere. And so we got to keep on him about that.
Yeah, I can't wait for him to get the new headquarters set up. That's going to be awesome. That's really going to be.
Oh my gosh,
the cool destination spot.
What it's going to have to be is we're going to have to be like a bunch of Amish people and go down there and just do it. You know, just like we were going with our hammers and go to town.
For him, but it was raining the whole time, and then we went fishing as soon as it quit raining. So, it was, it's just good. I got nothing else.
It's pretty awesome. Gene, I can't thank you enough. Looking forward to seeing you again here sometime in the near future. Because Chad said we're going to get together around springtime too. Because we got up there with him a little late in the year, but we want to come down. I mean, and that is such a good spot where he's at. And I look forward to getting down there. It's just getting a chance at some nice fish. And we have some fish around here, but I mean, I know down south is where it's at, so. And of course, good luck to your Bulldogs that's coming up. Will they play Monday night?
Yep, Monday night.
So that should be awesome. But again, man, thanks a lot for coming on, talking about all the things that we got going on this year. And if you're not subscribed, go check out Gene's. I'll post everything down in the description below. But I mean, if you really want to learn a lot of stuff and go back and watch some playlists and see how things have changed since he started doing this to where we're at now. A lot of the technologies have changed, but a lot of the techniques have stayed the same. And people ignore some of the stuff that we were doing years ago, and it might catch you some fish.
Yep.
I still throw a stupid tube, and people wonder, it's like, nobody's doing it. Yes, some others do. It's a sleeper sometimes.
Yep. Here's a hot tip.
Stay after it.
Go ahead.
So I was going to say, stay after it. We got some other guests coming up. We're going to have Christine Fisher. We're going to have Matt Ball. We're going to have Casey Reed. We're going to have Alex Miller. But my most special guest that I'm already starting to talk to and line up is actually Alex Miller's mom, Lynn, because her story and what she did for her son is absolutely phenomenal. And I bet me and Jeremy spent 2 hours on the water getting to know Lynn and having a blast. So of all the awesome people we got coming up, Lynn is going to be one of my favorite ones. And we got some cool lives coming up between now and when we can get back on the water. But I can't thank you guys enough for hopping on tonight. Matt, you got anything?
I just want to thanks, Gene, seriously, for the time. I mean, this has been awesome. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, and then we're all going to hang out and have a better time. So
before we go, JT, I want you to go to my channel, and I want you to at the main page, you click on that little hourglass and type in Spro Frog. Okay, and watch all those videos.
Yep.
Love y'all.
All right.
Go Dogs.
Ladies and gents, Freedom Squad, Fishing Fam, Damley, thank you once again showing out. I think we had 80 folks in here, live chat as always. Stay tuned and remember, get outside when you can and make some memories. One cat.